All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna give myself a womp womp. That was a womp womp worthy day yesterday. 0-2. We had a very small slate, and we got 2 picks out there. We had the Jazz -4.5 and Van Vliet's over in 3s. I didn't want to force anything. We didn't force anything. I like both those plays, but I'm glad we didn't force anything more because who knows how much more we could have lost. 0-2 yesterday. Jazz were covering like the entire game. Not even the entire game. Maybe 80% of the game. Give me that. And then the covering Cavaliers. These guys are out to kill me. They come back and cover against the Jazz. The Jazz, we only had them -4.5, and the Cavs making a 1-point game in the loss. And then Van Vliet needs one more 3 to go. But, hey, it is what it is. 0-2. We're back here doing another video. And, yeah, the comments aren't going to stop me. Like, I've said these before, and then I'll say it again. The people that come back and comment on yesterday's video after the picks are done, it's like, wow, you suck at this, blah, blah, blah. So easy to do that, you know? But those people don't show up when we're going 5-1, 6-0, or anything like that. No. They don't show up for that. They come in for the hate comments, and they check the picks and only comment if they lose. But, hey, what are we doing here? We're gambling. We're betting. You're going to win. You're going to lose. I don't tell anyone to blindly follow my picks. I just tell you what I'm confident in. I tell you what I'm playing tonight. Very transparent with you guys. So, it is what it is. We went 0-2. We're back here for another one, right? Like, you can hate on me if you want. I appreciate you for watching the video. Maybe hit the like button. Give me like a like hate or something like that. But anyways, let's jump into it, guys. We went 0-2 last night. Let's get a little bounce back action. We got 10 games on the slate tonight, and I just rambled for, I don't know, probably a minute, but it felt like 10 minutes. I rambled about losing yesterday, so clearly it bothers me. But we got December 6th, 10 games on the slate tonight, and some good picks here, or some good plays that I like already. But again, before we even jump into it, I'm going to tell you guys to keep an eye on the pinned comment. That is where my final ticket will reside. Throughout the day, we start to add to it, and everything will say ticket so far, and each play I put in is something that is locked in. So if I put it on there, it's already been locked in, but I make it a final ticket. That's to tell you guys that, hey, this is what I'm playing tonight. Nothing else is being added to it, but it's still in the works if it says ticket so far. So just check the pinned comment there, guys. And stay tuned because I want to see your comments as well. We get the hashtag of the day to get into and yesterday's shout out, but let's jump into it, guys. 10 minutes later, we're jumping into the video here. We got the Detroit Pistons hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder here. Pistons -5 at home. Thunder getting points on the road here. This Thunder team, we call them the rumbling, covering Thunder. They're 13-9 against the spread. The Pistons 11-11 against the spread here. Pistons 5-5 at home against the spread, and the Thunder 6-5 on the road against the spread. The reason the Thunder are underdogs here is because SGA is out. I don't even know if it's arguably their best player. He's just their best player. He is out. I would lean Thunder here, but again, this is going to be a psycho game, guys. I'm thinking about making merch that just says psycho game because there's people in the comments, and I love it, that somehow can look at a Pistons and Thunder game and have a play. To me, I'm just like, oh my God, these are 2 bad teams. Who knows what they could do? Who knows what's going to happen? So let me know in the comments down below, guys. I would lean Thunder here just because you're getting points. But this is a psycho game, guys. Like, unless you're a Pistons fan or a Thunder fan, I don't know how you have a strong take on this game. But let me know in the comments if you guys do. Moving on to the Hornets, taking on the 76ers here. Hornets getting 7 points at home. Obviously, that's due to all of their COVID issues here. Plumlee, Rozier, McDaniels, LaMelo, all out with COVID-19. 7 points at home. I kind of like that number. The Sixers team, obviously, they're getting a little bit healthy here. Tobias Harris is questionable, but when I say healthy, we're talking Joel Embiid, right? So Joel Embiid's back. The Sixers team's kind of winning some games, beating Atlanta, just losing to Boston. They're playing good basketball, but I don't know if they cover a 7-point spread here. I would lean Charlotte. You're going to have to twist my arm pretty hard to get this to be on the final ticket, though, because it's tough to bet a Charlotte team that has so many guys out, right? Like, I don't love this play whatsoever. It's very similar to yesterday's play. What did I say yesterday? I said I would lean Charlotte against the Hawks. They beat the Hawks. I didn't love that. I didn't play it. It was my lean, and they were getting points yesterday, right? But it's just tough to bet a team that has so many guys out, and this team still has Hayward, Bridges. Like, they do still have players that can score and everything like that, but to me, this is one where I lean Charlotte, and it probably goes as far as a lean. That's it. Moving on to the Pacers, taking on the Wizards here. Pacers 5.5-point favorites. Wizards just played the Raptors yesterday. caught a big-time L, lost by 12 to the Raptors. This Indiana Pacers team has lost 5 in a row to pretty good teams. Milwaukee, Minnesota, I'll give you. You know, there's some Minnesota fans in the comments I see all the time. And then Atlanta and Miami. So this Pacers team has gone on a 4-game losing streak here, but to some pretty good teams. Washington on the second night of a back-to-back after a loss. Do they look ahead? I think so. I lean Indiana here, -5.5. This Indiana Pacers team is super inconsistent, but this Washington Wizards team seemingly on a slide here, losing 3 out of their last 4, and even looking at their last 8, losing 5 of their last 8. So this Wizards team is not the Wizards team that they were to start the year. I think they're coming back down to earth, and as this Indiana team gets a little bit more and more healthy, I start to see them winning some basketball games. So I'm going to lean Indiana here -5.5. Keep an eye on the pinned comment, guys. Say it all the time. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see the final plays that I'm actually putting my money on tonight. I know some people make you pay for their final plays and everything like that. No interest in that. My plays will be in the final the pinned comment, my final plays. Next up, we have the Heat. 5-point favorites over the Grizzlies at home here. In terms of injuries here, we still have Jimmy Butler. He's questionable. Bam Adebayo out indefinitely with a thumb as well. Morris still out with the neck, and obviously we know Victor Oladipo's out. Grizzlies side of things, Ja Morant's the obvious injury here, but Anderson is out. Clark is now downgraded to doubtful. So a lot of injuries to consider in this game, and for that reason, I think I would lean the Grizzlies, getting 5 points. This Heat team has shown they're not the same without Jimmy. They're not the same without Bam Adebayo. I will say I probably get off of the Grizzlies side of things if Jimmy Butler is a go, and I might lean back towards Miami. So this is probably one where you want to see where I come out on the pinned comment if I do end up playing it. But I would lean Grizzlies here. They've shown that they can play some ball without Ja Morant. They've won 4 in a row here: Sacramento, Toronto, OKC, and Dallas. And you could say, well, who cares if they beat OKC? They beat OKC by 1,000,000 points. So it's not like they just beat a bad team. They smacked a bad team. So this Grizzlies team, maybe they're internalizing this bad injury from Ja and playing some good basketball. They are. But just keep an eye on the injury report, guys. I like the Grizzlies with the points, but Jimmy Butler could definitely sway that opinion. Next up, we have the T-Wolves taking on the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Pigeons on the road, as we like to call them. Even though they are starting to turn it around, they're 4-8. At one point, they were like 1-9 on the road. Against the spread, they're 3-9 still, which is 3 more games than when we were calling them the Atlanta Pigeons. They just took an L yesterday to the Charlotte Hornets in a high-scoring game. You would think that they're tired and everything like that. I think that they come out here and want to play a little bit better basketball and bounce back from it. In terms of injuries, we have Bogdanovich questionable, Hunter out, Reddish questionable here, and Okongwu still out with the shoulder. On the Minnesota side of things, you have Karl-Anthony Towns questionable, D'Angelo Russell questionable, McDaniels probable, Patrick Beverley questionable. So I'd love if a couple of those Minnesota guys didn't end up playing, because we are leaning, and I do like the Hawks here. I know they're on the road. I know I call them the Atlanta Pigeons on the road, but they just lost a tough one. I still don't buy into this Minnesota team. You guys know that somehow, some way, doing these picks videos, I became a Minnesota Timberwolves hater, but it is what it is. I'm leaning Atlanta Hawks pretty heavy here, and it'd be great to see a couple of those Timberwolves guys, especially like Towns, like no kidding, not play, but I might jump on that +2 number before we get any of those injury determinations, because even if everyone's healthy, I still like I like the Hawks here to bounce back. Next up, we have the Bucks taking on the Cavs. Cavs back-to-back. They just barely lost to the Jazz yesterday. We were on the wrong side of it. The Cavs are 18-5-1 against the spread. They are literally the Covering Cavaliers. I've never thought of a better nickname and a more fitting nickname in my entire life. The Bucks are given 7 points here to the Cavs. I can't take that. I cannot take that. I cannot bet against the Cavs again against a good team. I lean Cavs here. Probably won't make the final play, because on a second night of a back-to-back, I could totally see Milwaukee coming out here and just pummeling them. Milwaukee quietly having a ridiculously good stretch here. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games, only losing by 4 to the Raptors a couple games ago. That was without Giannis. This Milwaukee team is the real deal. I can't get myself to necessarily bet against them, but I don't know if I can bet against the Cavs here. So I would lean Cavs, but it's a tough one. I mean, a few of these games today, like I said, I like a lot of plays here, but there's a lot of games that, I'm just not trying to force. My gut instinct would be like, oh my God, Milwaukee over the Cavs, sign me up. Thought that yesterday. Took a big old L to the forehead. So I'm not throwing that one in there. This is going to be one where I go Cavs or nothing, but I got to really think if I can bet against this Bucks team right now. Next, we have the Bulls taking on the Nuggets. I feel like these two teams have played a million times this season, and it's probably only been one time. For whatever reason, some teams, when they play each other, I'm like, oh my God, did they just play a million times? Just because, what did they play a couple nights ago? Like, it gets in my head. I don't even know when they last played. Let's see. We got it up here. Last played on November 19th. So they played under a month ago. Bulls won 114 to 108. Bulls 4.5-point favorites here at home. I like the Bulls. In terms of injuries, you have a few guys that are just still out here. Obviously, tough news about Michael Porter Jr. a couple weeks ago. He's not returning. But Austin Rivers, COVID. Bull, not that matters. COVID. This Denver team cannot get healthy. They do have Jokic, and that's kind of all that matters. Very similar to the Sixers to me in a sense of, hey, you know what, if they have their best guy, then much of other injuries don't really matter. But Caruso's going to be doubtful for this game. Kobe White's downgraded to out. Javonte Green is out. Those guys due to COVID. But I like the Bulls in this one. This Bulls team, I almost feel like this is a disrespectful line. This Nuggets team has been super inconsistent. Losing a bunch of games, then getting a win, then losing to a bad team, beating a good team, back and forth. This Bulls team, I truly do believe in them. They beat Charlotte, they beat New York, and then they beat Brooklyn in the last, week or so. I lean the Bulls here pretty heavy, -4.5. Again, like the Hawks play and like this one big time. Like, these are probably going to be on the final ticket, but check it out in the pinned comment as well. I just think that for whatever reason, Vegas still has not bought into this Bulls team, whereas I think that they are a legit team. A lot of go-to guys. If one guy's cold, DeMar DeRozan's cold, Zach LaVine will fill in. Zach LaVine's cold, we'll give it over to Vucevic. Lonzo's setting these guys up. They're playing good D. I like the Bulls in this one, -4.5. Next up, we have the Suns hosting the San Antonio Spurs. Suns, 7.5-point favorites at home. It was tough to see their winning streak come to an end, I will admit, but I don't know if anyone really thought that it was going to continue without Devin Booker, as he is still out here with the hamstring. On San Antonio side of things, Zach Collins still out. Bates Diop, questionable, and Vassell, questionable. I don't think that those two injuries necessarily matter. 7.5 points is a lot, but I do see the Suns bouncing back, even without D-Book. I see the Suns bouncing back here, getting back on the win train, because this San Antonio team is red hot. They've won 4 games in a row, and against pretty good teams. Boston, Washington, Portland, Golden State. I wouldn't say that Portland one because obviously they didn't have Damian Lillard that game. But still, the San Antonio team's playing really good basketball. I'm not totally bought into them yet, so I do see them, not being able to go on a true 5-game win streak or anything like that. But I would lean Suns here. We'll see if it's any more than a lean. Check the pinned comment. But I think the Suns team, obviously, Booker's a great player and one of the best players on that team, if not the best. I still think that they have enough pieces and a good enough team to rout a team like the Spurs here, especially when they're at home. Next up, we have the Blazers taking on the Clippers here. Blazers getting 3 points. As we know, the Blazers will be out without Damian Lillard. CJ McCollum with that rib injury. He's going to be probable, but who knows if he's going to play. Simons is out, and Little is out here too. A lot of crucial injuries on the Portland side of things. It's tough because we've taken the Clippers a few times now, right? And they've lost 3 out of their last 4. Like, we have not been on the right side of a Clippers game in quite some time, but I do like this 3-point spread here. I know they're on the road. It's still West Coast, though. I like the Clippers -3. Again, Portland, they got no Simons, definitely, right? Anthony Simons out. If CJ McCollum doesn't play, and obviously we know Damian Lillard's not going to play, then we're looking at a huge game from the Clippers, in my opinion. So I lean pretty heavy towards the Clippers -3. Can they get us back on the win train? We've been on the wrong side of the Clippers like 2 in a row times now, so we'll see, but we're leaning Clippers -3. All right, last game of the night, we have the Golden State Warriors -14.5. Against the Orlando Magic. You guys know we're all over the Warriors. We love the Warriors. We've been taking them, even though they've lost 2 out of their last 3. One to the Suns, and they beat the Suns, and then they lost a pretty bad one on the back-to-back to San Antonio. But as big as a Warriors fan as I've become against the spread this season because of these videos and everything like that, I can't do it. I cannot lay 14.5 points against the Magic here. I mean, yes, it's the Magic. I totally understand that it makes sense and it's very doable, but 14.5 points is so much. I lean Warriors. If you guys are taking 14.5, I don't necessarily hate it. I love 13.5 a lot more, so if you can buy a point down, but you guys know, double-digit spreads do not make sense in my brain. These are 2 NBA teams. They can play basketball. Who knows what's going to happen? So 14.5 points is probably so doable, especially coming off a loss for this Warriors team. But I don't think that we could pull the trigger on it, unfortunately. I might just say screw it by game time and say we're locking in a Warriors play because we've been riding with them pretty much every single game this year. And, they're 16-6-1 against the spread. So Cha-ching. We've gotten a lot of money out of the Warriors, so we might just ride with them to stay loyal. But guys, I don't love that play at all. But hey, I'm a dummy. What can I say? But that's going to do it for the slate tonight, guys. Let's get into the hashtag of the day. If you don't know what the hashtag of the day is, it's pretty much the shout out of the day. I'm going to give you guys a hashtag to drop in the comments with your locks in just a second here. And then, we enter you guys at random if you have a positive night for the next day. But here we go. This is a big one here, a big one. And this is the perfect example of how I tell you guys, hey, when we were first doing these hashtags of the day, I was making sure someone had a perfect night. Did they go 5-0? Did they go, 10-0? Everything like that. Court Cousins, seeing in the comments every single day. This is what I love when we are randomly selecting these shout-outs, and I'm seeing people that have been literally probably watching the show since day one and videos before that and everything like that. So I love it. Court Cousins has a long one here, and it's taking up the whole screen, but they deserve it. Here, going 6 and 5, I believe. We don't have to go through each and every one, but some of these were spot on. Eric Gordon completely nails his game. He goes off. Same thing with Garrison Matthews. Scotty Barnes maybe a little off there, but then in terms of that Cavs Jazz game, you had Garland and Mobley looking pretty good and just losing by, I think, a half of assist on the Garland. So a 6 and 5 night from Court Cousins. Go check them out, guys, in the Orlando Magic NBA podcast. Even though we just told you to possibly bet against them, it is what it is. But go check them out. And again, just like a half assist away from being a 7 and 4 night. So that could have even flipped big time. But shout out to Court Cousins, guys. Today's hashtag of the day is going to be hashtag points. Because again, I want to remind everyone, we are not trying to knock Vegas out, okay? We're trying to point Vegas to death. Bob and weaving, getting a right hook in there every now and then. There's been a couple nights where Vegas knocks us down. Before the 10 count, we're up at like 6, right? We're ready to go. We're not trying to knock Vegas out. We're trying to point them to death, cash a little, make our pockets a little bit heavier. So drop hashtag points in the comments with your favorite pick tonight, or, like Court Cousins did, drop a bunch of picks. If you have a positive night, you're entered into, randomly being shouted out in tomorrow's video. I love that we're doing this. I think that you guys enjoy it. So again, hashtag points is the hashtag of the day today. Drop that in the comments with your favorite play, and you guys might be shouted out in tomorrow's video. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, even after a losing day. But we got plenty of plays here tonight. Keep an eye on that pinned comment. We'll add some player props and everything like that. But we'll catch you guys in the next one. Let's make some bread. No more womp womps except for this one. One last womp womp for last night. But then I'll give myself a cheers for tonight. Womp womps in the past. Cheers going forward. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.